Ridiculed for years, it is now D-line users' time to shine. How you rush the passer in Madden 21 has been completely overhauled with a new system tying majority of the things you want to do to beat a lineman to the right stick, to go along with an offensive and defensive line system that aims to keep you from breaking the sack record by week 4. So with that, I'm going to go over how to get busy as a user pass rusher in Madden 21 and put you in the best position to consistently get pressure on the quarterback. So let's get it. So the first things you have to get used to is the new O-line, D-line pass rushing system and how to perform each move. But first, let's understand the big ugly text above your pass rushers this year. Now each play you will be given a meter next to your player, and each line represents one pass rush move you are able to do. So if your rusher's bar has 4 lines lit up and you attempt 4 moves on one play, after the 4th move, as long as the play is still going on, you will no longer be able to do another move and risk getting put in the dirt if you attempt one. Now luckily you regain 1 pass rush move ticket after each play, so getting 3 and outs and turnovers on defense will also benefit you in resetting your meter next time you hit the field. Now abilities can alter specific players' meters and their teammates, which I'll go over in another vid. Now offensive linemen have their own bars, which build the more you span specific moves to one side all game. Keep speed rushing to the outside, okay, the right tackle will start to build a tolerance to it and you will start being less effective using that move over the course of the game. But the thing about this is that it is pass rusher specific. So Von Miller can be eating the right tackle's food all first quarter, the lineman meter starts to fill against the outside. So then you can either move Von Miller over to the left side of the line to get a fresh meter against their left tackle, bring in your backup linebacker even and have him rush against that right tackle Miller was beating off first quarter, or even both. So you can see where the cat and mouse game comes into play with this. Now the pass rush moves to take advantage of this, like I mentioned, are mostly tied to the right stick this year. And the first one I'll go over is the rip move. He dips under the offensive lineman and uses his speed to get to the quarterback. And to do this, you push the right stick up right before you make contact with the lineman, so you can rip through to the inside. Next is the bull rush, which is used for the big boys up front to put dudes in the dirt, which you do by aiming the right stick down. Now there's an ability called El Toro that puts dudes down with a bull rush if their pass rush meter is full, which is fun. This is the majority of the time done by fat defensive tackles to collapse the pocket up the middle. Next is my favorite move, the club swim move, which you perform by aiming the right stick to the left or right, and it is also used by more finesse type players. A trick to help yourself out is aim to the outside shoulder of the lineman, getting them to open up, and as long as you tell the game you want to do a swim move the opposite way, it will direct you that way. You don't need to be moving in that direction before you do the move. This opens up space back inside to give you room to operate. You see here with both, I'm trying to aim to Tyron Smith's outside, but will flick my right stick to the right, making him attempt to move to the inside. And the game doesn't go, okay, you're not on the inside of Smith, so we won't let you do this move. It will automatically force me inside to perform it. Next is the speed rush, which is pretty self-explanatory. And to do this, you hold the right trigger once you're about even with the offensive lineman. You're going to accidentally speed rush a bunch to start thinking it's regular turbo, but once you get out of that habit, you should be good. You can really, if you're using a guy who is a speed rusher, base your whole attack off of this move and counter rip moves and swims if it gets stopped. And again, you don't want to attempt this until you're about even with the offensive lineman on the outside. And lastly, we got the spin move, which you perform by swinging the right stick left or right and then around the bottom of the stick. Whichever side you start your right stick at is the side the pass rusher will spin towards. Now you got by the offensive lineman and it's between you and the quarterback, but there's still work to be done to get this dude down. One of the first is staying disciplined and maintaining your path to the quarterback. In certain situations, after successfully performing a move that moves you off the path you were originally on, you start zigzagging or lose the angle you have in taking the guy down. So keep in mind to try and go as straight as you can at the quarterback, and once you're close, do not dive at their feet. I know you want to get that sack you worked so hard for, but this will either get you a penalty or an easy scramble by the quarterback far more often than you get them down. Now if your opponent peeped you rushing at him early and he starts to break out, once you notice the quarterback starts to break the pocket, you have to approach things differently. For the Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray types, as unfair as it is, you have to beat them to the line of scrimmage, which to break it down easily, try and cut them off at the line to maintain a solid angle on them, opposed to continuing trying to chase them down, which 99% of the time they will be faster than you, and before you know it, you're 10 yards away trying to catch your breath. The chase from behind strategy will only need to be used against slower type of quarterbacks, where you have no worries of them outrunning you. You see here as Dak Prescott starts to roll out, I just run straight across the line to meet back up with him to get him down. Now the positioning of the teammates and the pass rusher you're controlling is important as well, to avoid getting double teamed and ruining the advantage you can create by going inside or outside when you already have a teammate there. Of course, any outside rusher is generally a safe bet to not get double teamed, but also a good formation to get your inside pass rusher plenty of chances whether you move an outside guy in or your defensive tackle is out of 3-4 or 4-3 under and controlling the left side defensive lineman. It's harder to double team because of his outside positioning on the guard and your other defensive lineman almost over the center. Another way is avoiding lining up on the side that has a tight end, because if they block him, it's bad news for you, and you would have been better off defending routes. So this is a way to stay one step ahead of your opponent by predicting when they're going to block a tight end by switching to a coverage linebacker to defend a pass and play with one less receiver. You never want to be predictable in anything, and switching up when you're controlling the lineman and when you're using a linebacker is one of those ways. Because if you're effective at it, your opponent will start changing up their blocking. And if you can predict it before it happens, advantage to you. And lastly, now you shouldn't just rush blindly every play. You also have to be super aware of routes behind you and know when to bail. The biggest one is recognizing screen passes and jumping them when the situation calls for it. You see this guy with Lawrence had no clue what was happening and took himself out the play, even though he had an easy chance for a pick. If you see it in time, these end up being the easiest picks you will ever have and have your opponent wondering why he even threw that. Now those rare beast defensive linemen who can beat you with both power moves and speed are able to override the offensive lineman's blocking system most consistently. So you're gonna want to treasure them if you have them, or try and get one ASAP. So alright sports gamers, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you liked it, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't so you don't miss anything we put out. Alright people, I'm Chris from Sports Gamers Online. Thank you all for watching, and be good y'all.